Hello everyone. In this video, I will show you how you can manage expired work queue items in Power Automate for desktop. I will show you how you can actually retrieve the expired work queue items for a particular queue and update those work queue items with a new expiry date. So without further ado, let's get started. For any automation, especially for the RPA automations, work queues are such a critical functional components to run the automation workloads, right? So when you add a work item to a work queue, there is an option to set an expiry time for that work item to manage the service level agreements for that particular business process. So when you add a work queue item to a work queue, you can assign an expiry time um, using the capability or the additional column data field here called expiry time, right? So once you do that, what happens is you when the automation is not able to process this work item within that stipulated SLA time, then the orchestrator behind the scenes will mark this work queue item as expired. In the next section, we will see how the work items in expired state will look like. Okay, once you navigate to the Power Automate portal and click on the work queues section, you will land in this page where this is the landing page for all listing all the work queues. And the work queue that we are interested to explore is the HR queue. And here are some of the work queue items that are available within this work queue. Let's take a look at how these work items are set up. So as you can see here, we can filter some of these work items based on their status. So since we are looking to manage the expiry time for some of these work items, so let's look at that particular work item which has the expiry. So you will see that there is a expiry time that is set for this particular work queue item, and then some of them. At least one of them has expired because the expiry time has eclipsed, and then the other one is still actively expired, right? Okay, now that we have seen how work queues are defined and how work queue items are listed within the Power Automate portal, let's see how we can actually extract the work queue items that have expired, right? So in order to fetch that particular result set, we need to send a filter criteria. And for the demonstration purposes, I am setting the current date time as the filter criteria, meaning that this particular desktop flow is going to fetch all the work queue items that have expiry time less than or equal to this particular current time. So once again, I am using the new capability that was recently introduced, which is the Microsoft Dataverse actions within Power Automate Desktop. For this demo, I'm using the list rows from select environment. I'll pass in the environment table name as well as the filter criteria. As I suggested before, I'm leveraging the current date time as the filter criteria to fetch the expired items that match the current time. All right, so let's take a look to see how this particular desktop flow runs. Okay, here is the desktop flow that I have created to fetch the expired work items. Let's run this to see how we can extract the expired work queue items from the work queue. Okay, it was able to fetch one work item, and that was it. Let's take a quick look at the once again the work queue items that from the HR queue that we have seen, right? So it is able to fetch one that captures what we are set up to do, which is fetching the expired work items matching the filter criteria of the current date time. In the next section, we will see how we can actually update the expiry time for this particular work queue item. Okay, as we look to update the expiry time for this work queue item, I have created a new variable called new expiry time. What I'm doing here is I'm adding 1 day to the current date time as the new expiry date time. So what I'm using here is once again the newly introduced Microsoft Dataverse action called update a row in select environment. In this case, what I'm trying to update here is the expiry time, right? And as you can see here under the advanced section, I'm setting the expiry date time as the newly created expiry date variable, which is nothing but adding 1 day to the current date time. Along with that, I'm also changing the status and the status reason to show as queued. Okay, let's see when we run this, how this one actually shows up. Okay, so I'm running the desktop flow to update the expiry date time for the work queue item. Okay, okay, the work queue item has successfully updated. So let's quickly see how the work item actually shows up on the Power Admin portal. Let's refresh this page. There you go. So now it cleared the expired flag. And as you can see here, the expiry date time has been set to T+1, which is adding 1 day to the current date time. All right. Just to recap, in this video, what we have seen so far is to fetch the work queue items from a work queue that have expired and update the expiry time for those work queue items. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much. Happy automating.